So this is a quick video tutorial on how to draw the human heart. So remember that I am an art teacher, not a doctor, not someone in the medical field. So I am giving you a very simplified and simplified for not only you, but simplified for me tutorial on how to best draw the human heart in a simplified way. So you will be getting several different little pieces of paper that you eventually will glue into your sketchbook to prove that you understand certain skills before we go into the final part of our passion project. So you're going to notice I've given you a little step-by-step here that helps me and helps you. So let's do this really quickly. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to draw the left and right ventricle. So because I am an art person, I assign myself to think of it more like a slanted strawberry. So if you think about it like a strawberry would be, kind of like that, with a slight slant. So you'll notice the left side of my strawberry is slightly leaning over to one side. It's got a little dimple in it on both sides, and then it is a little more flat at the top, kind of where the stem might be on it. Next thing, I'm going to do the pulmonary artery. I kind of think of the pulmonary artery as the gas pump. So I'm going to put it in here. It is literally looks like the start of it looks like the pump on the gas when you go to get gas inside of your car. So it starts out with one artery, a nozzle, and the bottom is definitely thicker or wider. So it sort of sits right where the stem of the strawberry would be. And again, it sort of looks like a pump in gas. Most of the time, depending on how it has been viewed, there are other little smaller arteries that come off of that. And you could look at a variety of different online sources to get a little more detail. My eraser is terrible, but we'll go back and fix that later. So now I've got the starts of the artery pieces. Next, I'm going to do the right atrium, which is this large piece that sort of is going to come around. So if you look at this piece right here, it looks sort of like the start of a handle for the gas pump. There is a large sort of quarter circle that should come up and come around that pulmonary artery. And believe it or not, this pulmonary artery goes through an opening on the inside of the right atrium. So this little piece right here, you can see that on camera, is getting tucked inside of that right atrium. So I actually put a little bit of shadow work in there. And this right atrium has a lot of texture to it because it too is like another vein. So often what I'll do is I'll go back and put some lines in it, some hatching that are sort of semi-rounded, because if you think about it, it's sort of like, I guess the best way to describe it, at my house, it looks like one of those silver dryer vents. There's a hose attached on the back of the dryer that sort of can be like an accordion, can open and close it to different sizes. So it sort of looks like that. Next, we're going to do the superior vena cava. The superior vena cava is just another part of the atrium, and it's back in here, and it sort of looks like this. I don't know that I have a describing word to it. Sort of like part of a pecan. If I had to, it's sort of tucked in back behind the superior vena cava. So we've got the vena cava, we've got the pulmonary artery, and now we want to work the aorta to it. So back in here, in amongst everything else, is now the aorta. Tucked back in there. And then, of course, last but not least, is we have a bunch of veins. So they're nothing more than tree branches. The trick to the tree branches is that as they grow around the heart, they should sort of round around the shape. So I'm not going to make them look flat. I'm going to actually make them a little bit thicker at the top. And I'm going to make them grow around the different parts of the heart. So it actually looks like it's wrapping around the heart because these veins are growing all the way around the body of the right and left ventricle. So I'm going to put one there. I'm going to put another one. There's usually two or three. They're sort of wrapped around here. Right? And again, I'm going to make them thicker at the top. And let them sort of branch out. And then I'm going to put a couple more here They're almost all growing from the center part of that strawberry or the middle of that right and left ventricle right here. They're kind of coming out roughly from that area. So I'm going to do another one. And there's usually a tiny little dent. I'll put this little dent at the bottom of the strawberry here. So if I were doing this then in Sharpie or in pen, I'm not going to, but you can see a little bit better which lines I'm keeping and which lines I would eventually erase. So there's, again, the right and left ventricle. There's the aorta. There's the superior vena cava. The start of the pulmonary artery. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to go back and put a lot of detail into the veins. So that gives you just a really quick tutorial on how to draw the human heart. Once you've drawn this on one of those small pieces of paper, you're going to move on to drawing another one, but this time you're going to choose one of the 4 media options. You're actually going to paint 2 different versions of the heart in 2 different media. So look at the slides that I've given you for further details.